And our lead this hour, play the hits, my man. All right, play the hits. We go below the Mason-Dixon line. We head to the ATL, an interdivision matchup in the NFC. The Falcons playing host to Dakota Prescott and the Cowboys. The traveling circus from Jerry Jones, Jerry's World, making its way into Georgia, a great airport there in Atlanta. Were you watching? Maybe not. Kirk Cousins. What? Remember how bad he looked the first couple of games of the year? People are like, wait a minute, he doesn't look very good. Well, he's fine now. Cousins, not one, not two, but 3 touchdown passes against that mincemeat Dallas defense without an interception. And the Falcons get their 5th win in their last 6 games on Sunday as Atlanta beats Dallas 27-21, a game that was not that close. The better story in the losing locker room in Georgia, and we are all about the hits. Everyone talking about the mouth of the South. Dak Prescott. What did he say? What did he say? What did he do? What did he do? What did Dak do? What did he do? All right, let us discuss. All right, so here's the story. If you're watching the Fox broadcast, you might have seen this, but maybe you didn't see it. Maybe you missed it. So Dak Prescott, your Dallas Cowboys franchise quarterback who just got a massive extension, should not have gotten that, but he got it. Dak Prescott, your Dallas Cowboys quarterback, was caught on camera late in the 4th quarter saying, quote, "We effing suck," except he didn't say effing. He said the full word like puck. Yes, right there on the sidelines. So how do you rule on this one? How do you rule on Dak Prescott being caught saying, "We effing suck" on the sidelines? So I've got 1950s, foreign ministry, and hydrant. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make a haberdashery, which Dak Prescott will be better at than playing quarterback. He can run a haberdashery and sell men's clothing. So first of all, this one is rather self-explanatory, right? Self-explanatory. Dak Prescott showed his real thoughts on the situation. It wasn't the media, he's in front of the cameras and the microphones, and he gives a watered-down version and rah-rah, team spokesman, PR. He was having a casual conversation with a teammate on the sidelines. All right, and he figured he was camouflaged, that he could say what he wanted. Didn't matter. He's on the sidelines. He's out of the game, and that's fine. Well, it turns out that the red light of the camera is always on, and this was a throwback to 1950s classic television. Hey, Dak, smile. You're on candid camera. Ta-da! Yeah, so Dak Prescott's private take was captured for posterity's sake, and you are what your record says you are. Dak was not wrong. The tape does not lie. Dallas is a smoldering pile of turds at this particular point. You don't have to be a lip reader to know that. They were down 27-13 at the time. 2 touchdowns. There were 3:56 to go in the football game, and that about sums it up. Dak Prescott got paid, and Jerry Jones got played. And so did the Dallas Cowboys, and now he's hurt. Well, isn't that convenient? Which is the cherry on top of the poopy Sunday. All right, now, secondly, Jerry Jones addressed reporters for more than 9 minutes. More than 9, but not quite 10, but more than 9, following the loss to the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday. Jerry liked the team so much he bought it, and he's the GM, as we know. Now, Jones, it is important to note, had not spoken with reporters after a road game in almost 2 years. Now, Jerry said he had an emotional message to the team after the loss. The raw emotion. Was it something along the lines of, you guys suck. You know how much I'm paying you? Play better. Y'all need a flea bath because you're dogs with fleas. Probably didn't say that. But one thing he did say that got a lot of traction, Jerry Jones said, right now it's bleak. However, he believes in Coach Mike McCarthy. And that was the money quote, among others. And for the purposes of this monologue, we will focus in on that. So why did Jerry Jones publicly say that he believes in Mike McCarthy, the rotund coach, despite Dallas being on the wrong side of the 500 marker? So here's the way I will approach this. Right? So Jerry Jones, everything the guy does is calculated. Now he's losing a little bit. He's older, losing a little bit. But the lights are on and nobody is home in the Cowboy facility at this particular point. Jerry is engagement farming. And it's not about the Super Bowl. As long as you're engaged in the Dallas Cowboys, that's what matters. And so Jerry, on this one, is working, if you will, for the foreign ministry. That's what Jerry's doing here. The Cowboys are bad. They're bad to the bone. However, Jerry is going to do everything in his power, to keep the customers locked in. Keep watching, keep the drama. Will he fire this guy? Will he bench this guy? All of that. Because it's diplomat Jerry. He's the diplomat on this one. He cannot admit, will never admit that Mike McCarthy is the problem, because that would be an admission that Jerry Jones is the problem, because Jerry Jones picked Mike McCarthy. You see how this works? That's his hand-picked head coach, just like he can't admit Dak Prescott ain't the guy. In fact, when people told him, like yours truly, not to give Dak Prescott an extension, make him earn the money, Dak Prescott got the extension. Does anyone think in the greater Dallas area, one of the great sports talk radio stations in America, which is in Dallas, does anyone in the greater Dallas area or anywhere else who's a Cowboy fan think that Dak Prescott has earned the contract that has backed up Jerry Jones? And for that matter, if Dak was not under contract past this year, let's say that things had been different. I believe in the multiverse. And so let's say there's a dimension where Jerry Jones did not give Dak Prescott the contract, foolishly give him the money, unearned money, and say, hey, Dak, go out there and earn the money. And so then Dak played the same way he's playing right now. Would he get that same contract? Dak Prescott is currently the 23rd ranked quarterback in the NFL. He is worse than Trevor Lawrence, who last I checked, everyone agrees, blows. And yet, Dak Prescott right there, hey, say we suck, and now he's hurt, so he'll miss some time. Jerry's very concerned about Dak Prescott. But I would argue that he would be hard-pressed to get the same amount of money. Now, someone would sign him because there's always the sucker. In this case, it's the Dallas Cowboys. They're the sucker. They paid him. They knew what they had, and they still paid him. They know he can't play well in big games, and he's a choke artist. But now he's not even great against subpar opponents. It's completely unraveling. But Jerry can't admit that because you got to have guts to admit that. Now, final thought, we go to Baltimore in a game that I could not have been more wrong on in my handicapping. And you look at all the numbers. This is another example of the great Dick Stockton pointing out, stats tell you what has happened, not what's going to happen. So I spent a lot of time during the week getting ready for the TV show. It pays more than this by a lot. It's only half an hour a week, and it pays more than a 5-night-a-week radio show. God, I can't believe that. Anyway, so I do the TV show. I spent a lot of time preparing around the radio show, looking at the numbers, looking at trends, looking at different angles for each game. And every key indicator said that point spread was completely wrong in the Denver game with Baltimore. According to the EPA stats, the Broncos had the number one defense in the entire NFL. The Baltimore Ravens had the worst pass defense in the NFL coming into the game. And so you put those two together, you say, well, the Broncos will be able to contain the Ravens enough, a little bit, to stay within the margins. Then they played the game. And every single minute that I spent breaking the numbers down was a total waste of time. Because Lamar Jackson had a perfect game, perfect quarterback rating against supposedly the top defense in the NFL, 280 yards, 3 touchdowns. Baltimore didn't just beat Denver, they vaporized them 41-10 in a game that was not even that close. The Ravens didn't even play the fourth quarter. They did not even bother showing up in the fourth quarter. Now, Bo Nix said the Broncos got their butt kicked by the Ravens, which is true. What the hell happened to Sean Payton's defense? So we can break it down play-by-play if you want. That would be boring sports talk radio, but clearly they weren't ready to perform for whatever reason. They I don't know what they were doing at practice. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but sometimes you're the dog and sometimes you're the hydrant. In this case, the team from Denver was the fire hydrant there, and they just were not there. If they were a fish, they were flounders. They were flat, and what a reality check for the Denver Broncos. I thought, well, they weren't going to win the game, but they could have a good showing here and prove to people that this is something real. They didn't prove anything. They proved the opposite. And now they have another opportunity. The Broncos play the Chiefs. I'll be at that game at Arrowhead on Sunday, but man, what a zero performance there. Lamar Jackson, Mr. Perfect in this game. Derrick Henry had 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. A feeble performance by the Broncos. They had a lot of matadors out there tackling. Ole, 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 ole. My God. The stat sheet was lopsided, but that doesn't even tell the whole story because literally Denver, I think they had like 92 yards in the fourth quarter, and the Ravens had like 15. They just let up. I mean, they were up by so many going in the fourth quarter. Like, all right, the game's over. Play our backups and all that, and garbage time. Man, was that bad. God, was I wrong about that. My God, I could not have been more wrong about that effing game. Of all the weeks for the Broncos not to show up, that's the week.